Welcome back to No Tact Talk podcast. I was serious. I pressed record. No. Um, we was already talking for like 10 minutes. So I was like, man, this is great. So what's up, y'all? We're back at it again. Usually I record maybe a week or so before I actually publish the episode, but this is gonna come out Sunday, so it's pretty fresh. So everything we're talking about should be pretty current. I have an awesome guest today. We're gonna get to her in a second. She's sitting there wondering if her mic's gonna be good enough, but I promise you it is. um, I forgot what I was about to say. No, like I said, welcome back. This is shameless plug. Call it housekeeping rules. Go to the No Tech Talk podcast where you listen to this from SoundCloud, Apple, Spotify. Leave your boy a 5-star rating. I've noticed the increase in traffic, so some of you been doing it, and I appreciate it. Moving on up there. Okay, we're getting better with the ratings. You can always go to notechtalk.com to support the podcast. Just leave a comment on your favorite episode. With all that being said, today's been a crazy day. Um, already, my boss is like, I feel like he's going through a midlife crisis. We're going to talk about that here in a second as well. And if you listen to it, it is what it is, bro. Like, he probably don't listen no way, but he say he listens to it, but I don't think he does anyway. But so
He
it's just
might
been kind of
didn't
like
even know I was going through midlife.
maneuvering through his life. It's like a lot of transition going on in his life. He's got a daughter going to LSU, and it's this whole thing that he has like a couple younger children, a lot of older children, so he's like everywhere. Work is crazy, but let me introduce you before you start talking. We have Chénoia Bryant. Okay, I'm gonna let her do her bio, but for my own mini bio for her, she's a super dope individual, fashionista, big puffy hair. I always love the big puffy hair. If you're watching this on YouTube, super dope. And the vibes are there. So I think this is gonna be an awesome conversation. Cue the applause in the post editing. What's up? What's up?
Hello,
How's it going?
everybody. Hello, world.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Chénoia.
So I'm Chénoia. Thank you for the fashion credit.
Yeah, you be killing it. You be killing it. No, it's all good.
I appreciate it. I am a researcher
Okay.
and professor at the University of Alabama. I recently just finished my PhD on October
Nice.
2nd, so that is exciting.
Dr.
And
Bryant, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, Dr. Bryant. I'm sorry. Let me put some respect in your name. Go ahead.
All right. All right. I gotta stay humble. I got out of bed
Gotta
the next.
chill. Yeah, just take your
Oh, you just
praise
gotta
when you
stay
get
humble.
it.
Uh, but other than that, like most of the time, I think when the thing that connected us is, I'm normally on social media talking about things that I'm passionate
Mm,
about, and so I've done work with LGBTQ plus communities,
mm-hmm.
and then my current research focuses a lot on Black women telling their stories instead of having their stories told for them. So
So
that
what's the difference between the two?
the two are different because when Black women are having their stories told for them,
Mm-hmm.
people usually lean very heavily on negative stereotypes,
Mm-hmm.
like the strong Black woman archetype. I know we've discussed like the angry Black woman. So Black women often get framed in ways that aren't necessarily reflective of their true experiences
Mm-hmm.
and don't necessarily consider the complexities of the fact that Black women's bodies are what Bernard always calls in view and on view, right? So
Okay.
Black women are constantly having to be aware of their positionality in the world and then also trying to balance, right, who they are personally with all of this identity and respectability politics of who the world thinks they should be. So
Mm.
often like handing Black women the mic, right, gives them an opportunity to give you a really transparent view of their experiences and sharing it with you without necessarily having all of that, like, I call it white supremacist patriarchal kind of
Oh
framework,
yeah, all that. Yeah.
clouding your
Yeah.
judgment or, having the mic, like Black women standing in a line in the background while normally a white man holds the mic
Mm-hmm.
and talks about them.
It's kind of so for a black woman to do that, I feel like she has to be like at a certain place, right? To do that. And so I'm taking it from all angles here. So have you found that in trying to empower and you obviously lift up your queens, right? That there's like a self esteem issue there, or I mean, obviously the ones that are ready are ready. You know, they usually don't even have to have permission to be heard. Got it. What I always focus on is the people that, you know, because I'm such an extroverted personality. I'm always thinking about the opposite. Like I don't want to be too much, and so in that, you know, I've had conversations even last couple episodes. She's actually a doctor as well in social work. Um, it's just women, you know, feeling like they're in the right environment to be heard, and so if I'm gonna go take the mic in the public setting, like, what do you think they kind of have to get over to get to that point, or you know, not even just self-esteem, but confidence, whatever. You know, like, what do you feel like they have to do to get to that point?
I think, you kind of already spoke to a part of the key. It's this
Okay.
idea of thinking about, or putting it out of your mind. Am I too much? Right? Am I too loud? Do
Mm,
I sound too angry? Is this coming across as too aggressive? Is
yeah.
my hair too big? Is it not professional enough? Like all of these things that really white culture has
Mm-hmm.
tried to use to box you, right? Because that's a chapter in my dissertation. It's called Unboxing Black Womanhood, but the
A
right is
chapter.
in parentheses because
Yeah.
what white folks have done historically is placed us in boxes that they felt like we belong in
Mm-hmm.
boxes that they felt like could be used to categorize and contain us in
Mm-hmm.
ways that made them comfortable. So a major part of that is stripping that off. Like
Yeah.
if I'm too much, that's really not my problem. Then
Yeah.
you with that, right? Like you need to deal with that. Maybe you need to up your tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if my hair is big, it's just big. Like maybe your hair is too flat. If I'm loud, maybe that's just the way I speak. If I'm angry, and we've talked about this as a Black
Yeah.
woman, I have every right to be. And I might articulate my anger very softly. I might articulate my anger in a way that makes you kind of like, oh my God, I'm scared. Is she ready to fight? Whatever. But
Yeah.
my problem, right? So this getting out of this idea of like, what do they think about me? Like, how do I
Mm.
feel? How do I feel
I feel
about
like
this?
it's their threshold too, because it's amazing. Well, white people's threshold, more specifically, it's amazing how they can go across the whole world, and that's not everybody, obviously, my allies, whatever out there, right? But they're so cultured. I've been to China, I've been here, I've been there, and they're always so super proud. I've been to Africa, good for you, right? You know, but it's just like they're it's so easy for them to, you know, take on everybody else's culture, but I don't know why it comes off so heavy when it comes to like real like black, you know, African American culture. And so, and it seems like because I was actually doing a little research the other day, you know, like you know, I'm sure y'all know about the hierarchy, kind of how it was during slavery, and it's not a slavery conversation, but it went there because I've been thinking about researching multi generational trauma,
Yeah.
and it's heavy. I didn't know, like, obviously it goes back like a lot of isms, but it's really deeper than what most people think. I think it was like white male, white woman, you know, black male, black woman. So you know, but on every chart or ideology, whatever I found, the black one was always on the bottom, and that bothers me, obviously.
Yeah.
But to me, from my viewpoint, it's like y'all the most dangerous. And obviously, because I was raised around them, I got three sisters, you know. But it's like y'all the most, like, we call them Swiss Army knives in the army. I mean, you could do everything, like everything. You know, we're not even talking about what everybody, you know, pregnancy, having the body, you know, whatever, right? But what y'all do in general, that's a whole other conversation. But just you on your own, you know, black women, it just seems like, why wouldn't people see that? So does it instantly, you think it's just people are instantly like threatened by that, recognizing that, or what?
Absolutely. Like if I wasn't a Black woman,
Yeah.
why wasn't I blessed?
That's the thing. Even with like, I did a whole episode about black hair, and so like, you know, and I could relate to that one a little bit because of the waves and, you know, kinky hair and things like that. But I've seen this, you know, a white girl walk up to a black woman. Oh wow, you can do so many different things, you know, with your hair, but I can only do like two or three or whatever. And it's like, bro, and I was trying to save her, you know, in that moment, because I looked at it, I was like, don't touch her, don't touch her hair. And so for one, she was like obviously being extra, but she was like trying to act so. But for the woman, the black woman at the time, there was like this gray area. I think a lot of black people feel this. It's like a buffer zone. Like you trying to figure out of like if it's from malicious intent versus do you really just want to know?
Right.
And so, but some people, including myself, a couple years ago, I don't want to educate you. It's not my job to educate you, on Black matters. And so I've been trying to do better. Not every person, but if I feel like, okay, cool, he cool, and he's really coming from, because for me it's mostly guys, right? I try to like, hey, bro, we don't do that, or I mean, I'll tell them because I feel like, I owe it to them, like, because you're going to go somewhere else down the street and you're going to get shot, or, just like simple stuff. And then for me, it's like, some people don't want to know. And then that's why I'm like, do I become this person that they see on TV or that they're afraid of? Am I going to perpetuate the stereotype in this moment? Because it's like a crazy situation. That's why I think a lot of mental issues come from. I don't know.
I mean, I think you said the key. It's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
That emotional nor educational labor. And I always, think about, or I tell my class to think about, it's 2043 that it's estimated that the minority is going to become the majority, right? And it's going to be a very interesting world because as minorities, right, especially in the United States, we've had to learn their culture. We've had to consistently adapt. We've had to learn their history. We've had to meet every bar they've set and then some, right? Yeah. Just really to survive. Them, on the other hand, they haven't had to be bothered. So what do you do when you're thrust into a world that is no longer yours? And you really have not even been equipped, because we're equipped with the tools early on in our lives, right? Yeah. How to navigate kind of both spaces or multiple spaces. Them, in their privilege, which they don't realize.
This whole world is one space.
Right.
They have to adjust it all.
Think about it. And so what's going to happen? What's going to happen with them? And it's not your responsibility to take up, right, or feel any slack that they're missed. Like, it's 2020. It's Google. Like, to your tablets, for crying out loud. They know how to go on YouTube and find video.
Yeah. And they feel like they have that one Black friend.
Yeah,
that's another thing I talk about too. And it's funny. I think we touched on this a little bit. But lighter skinned Black people I can't even say that because I'm just gonna say Black folks in situation because I thought about like 10 more other people as soon as I said that. Growing up, trying to find your identity, I'll switch it up. You're open, you're a sponge, and so you're in different circles. But all it takes is like that one cookout, right? All it takes is that one family reunion.
Or that one homecoming tailgate.
Oh, listen, right? And for you to go back to that group of white friends and realize, like, what am I doing? It's like, it's an outer body experience. And so I used to be that guy. It was in middle school. It was like, it got me early. So that was good. It was in middle, but I had like a bunch of friends, and I had this one dude. I'm going to always shout him out because he left. So I'm going to tell you this story. Ramsey Archibald. Cool dude. I'm sure he's cool now. We Facebook friends, whatever. We chopped it up every now and then, but I never forget this, and it stuck with me. I don't know if I told you the story, but we used to be like best friends, like in the neighborhood. I don't even think we went to the same school, but we stayed like 3 blocks away from each other. So we used to always meet up and play middle school. Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was a super nerd, Pokemon on the bikes, doing kid stuff. It was awesome. So I went over there. I used to go over there sometimes. He go to my house sometimes. So one day, maybe 2 weeks had passed. I went over there. I was chilling. Walked over there, doing my own little thing. Being a little bit. It's all good. It's okay.
Have it on Do Not Disturb.
It always happens. If I could have a blooper reel, no tech talking.
How would this Do Not Disturb? I thought Do Not Disturb was supposed to not let stuff.
It's because it's probably still on Wi-Fi though. If you got an iPhone, right?
I do.
I message or FaceTime. I gotta do mine the same way.
Boom.
Anyway, so I went over there and I knocked on the door, and somebody else answered the door, and I'm like, "Where's Ramsey? Who's Ramsey? Oh, you talking about that family that moved like 2 weeks ago, bro?" So my thing is like, why do I still remember that story? And so stuff. So because of therapy, I'm talking about I've been unpeeling all types of layers in this big old onion of mine, right? And so I went there for one reason, but like I think a lot anyway. So adding a therapist to the mix, I mean, it just put it on steroids. Anyway, so I was reflecting on that one day. I was like, why do I care so much about this dude? Obviously, it was like it wasn't a traumatic event, but it was like, man, like he didn't even tell me. We hung out like all the time. Are you muted right now?
Huh? No,
Oh,
oh,
okay, my bad. You good.
oh,
So I'm like, the dude left. So instantly, well, over time, I think I equated to that to him being white. I don't know why. But because all I know is every other black friend I had, well, we fell out or not, the dude just didn't disappear. So like to me, this whole time I felt like I was getting like I'm just like his friend, like, and I started thinking about it like he had other friends that was never around his other white friends. Why did he bring me around? So I'm just like going in. So
right.
one part of me, I think there's always this internal battle between people. If you don't say it is, you're probably lying. But one part of me is saying, man, it was just a little incident. His family probably had some issues, whatever. It wasn't even that deep. The other part of me is saying I was his token black friend and he want to bring around his other white friends and blah, 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 blah. I'm just spiraling. So fast forward to now, I told my homeboy this other day. I was like, man, I ain't got nothing against nobody. You be purple, pink. I'm a play the role, whatever. But white folks got to work hard to be my friend. It just do. I ain't against it. And if it's wrong, I'm sorry.
No.
But how I grew up, especially from Birmingham, right? It's like seeing it, and then even coming to a place like Austin, majority white, the majority white people here. And I was my dummy self had to trying to myself had to do a market analysis. So I'm a recruiter for the military, right? Knowing like codes and gender from different areas is like part of my job. The mortality rate for black folks is like super high. Like it's real bad. Like we're under other here. And it's like seeing things like that, it just kind of does something to you. So it's like the next white person you see, like it's like you're an enemy, but like I'm automatically like afraid. Isn't that crazy? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's crazy. I think that, and I think we talked about this when we
Yeah.
had the initial conversation that, when you look at the historical record, what reason does
Yeah.
any group of people of color
Mm-hmm.
in this country have to trust white folk, right? Because they've all been through it, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
white folk shouldn't even trust white folk that come from other
Bruh.
spaces, right? Because they didn't all start off white. Like some of
Yeah.
them were treated like straight up trash too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the record shows that there's really no reason to have trust or any level of emotional or
Been the
intellectual
benefit of the doubt.
in them.
Yeah.
The only sort of intellectual investment you have is sort of, or maybe potentially could have or should have, is knowing the game so you know how to navigate their little world.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, like there's no
Mm.
like I can't legitimately go to any person of color who says something like what you said, or one of my girlfriends who says I just cannot date a white man. I just cannot
Mm-hmm.
do it. I can't tell them that their concerns aren't substantiated. History substantiates them.
So how
They're
you feel about it?
across the board.
How you feel about the whole thing? You got white friends?
I do have white friends.
Okay. So
I
how
have all the friends,
you see? You got what?
all the friends. But
All the
my
friends.
circle,
Yeah.
all the girls, they're black.
Is that on purpose?
Girls, they're black.
Is that on purpose or just kind of how it happened?
No, I really feel like it's how it happened, but also I was kind of like you. I went to school with white people all the way up through high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I love y'all, but I'm so sick of y'all. I want to go. I want to go to a HBCU. Like I'm
Right.
tired of being around Like, all of y'all, nobody in the classroom ever looks like me. My teachers never look like me. Like, this is old and played. And so I messed around, I think maybe my junior year of high school, and I went on a college tour and messed around and went on Spelman College campus. Oh, I was gone. I was gone. Like, everybody
Yeah.
else just cut the losses. Honey, y'all could go on, move about your business. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was, I don't think it was so much intentional. It's just that you, in having those experiences, you get tired. And I think, as when you're young, you don't necessarily have words for what you're experiencing, right? Like, the fact that you were a token, so to speak,
Yeah.
old you were, but I know when I was, in middle school, I didn't have the language, right, of what a token was or what that meant. I didn't
Yeah.
know that when certain things were being said or done, that those were microaggressions that had to do with my race and
And
my
when
gender.
you're so young, that's really just from their parents. They don't
Right,
even know what they're saying half the time. That's the crazy
right.
part about
And
it. Yeah.
so it's just like it gets to a place where, even when, it's not like I don't want to necessarily have any more connection to your community, I just need more connection to my own,
Yeah.
right? Like, because like you said, everybody isn't terrible, everybody doesn't intend harm. Some people
Yeah.
want to be educated, they want to know better, they want to do better, but I can't, like, be that for you, be your anchor, be your little,
Yeah.
educator. I
That
gotta go out here
God.
and link with my own people.
I
I gotta
think it's I think it's like an aha moment on both sides. I'll touch on for when we were talking about first. So like when you finally do realize um like what it's really about, like racism is real, like that was messed up. It's like a aha moment. Like it's like it's like all at once. And so like I'm saying, you start seeing everything different. I think that, and I say this first because we usually get that quicker. Now, with for white people, I feel like they go way longer, right? Without realizing. So like let's just say they finally do see the light, right? 30, 20, whatever years old. But I think we get probably like around high school, we really start to see because we all in our emotions, we figuring out ourselves, and maybe like early college, but you really start to see how people really are because you live in life, learning
right,
about yourself, living those experiences. Um, but for them, it's like my life has always been great. I've always gotten things the way I wanted it. I've never had a problem with the police officer. I can't believe so and such said that to you. Or even like, oh, I can't believe your mom talked to you that way, bro. What? Like, all these examples. And so once they finally like have a piece of that, when somebody like disrespects them, or like it's just like, oh, I can't believe, oh, how could, I have to write a letter. I have to go talk. It's just they can't believe that the system did not work for them this one time, like in their 30 years of living. And it's so funny to me. It's like, bro, you really like been out of shape about this. It could be at McDonald's or it could be at the Supreme Court, whatever. But the point is, they did not get their way, and so they have like they can either use that information and apply it, like you say, constructively, be a better person ultimately, or they could just go the complete opposite. And that's where we get all of these Karens and, you know, Susie's, whatever. It's just like,
you know.
um, anyway, I don't want this to be it's about the whole thing, but it's amazing how we got there.
I think,
I had to go ahead.
part of your experience in
Yeah.
this country as a Black person. I talked to my students about this today, actually, that, like you were just mentioning, for us, we sort of, like, in grade school, our history begins with slavery,
Mm-hmm.
right? It begins with us being enslaved people. We talk about sort of what they paint as all the glories of their white history. We
Mm.
really don't talk about the horrors that we inflicted on Asian American people,
Right.
indigenous people, Latinos. Like, we don't go into all of that. So they kind of start us in a place where, well, damn, y'all came here
Yeah.
practically animals, right?
Right.
Um,
So you should be grateful for even being here. Right.
But then they skip over everybody else, and then they paint all their villains as heroes. And so I told them, by the time y'all get to me, and I'm coming up here with the wop 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 wop, and Christopher Columbus wasn't nothing but a raping genocidal psychopath who got credit he didn't deserve. Like, you mad? You sitting up here big mad at me, deep red at me, because you've been lied to for 20 years. And now I have to come in
and unravel all of it.
I have to turn light on in your darkness, right? Which hurts your eyes a little bit. I gotta dig the knife under your skin and help you start to peel off some of them scales. Mm-hmm. And now you mad at me because the educational institution in this country, like, this is how they wanted you to be in the first place, and they didn't do their job. And so now, right, you can even look at me. I'm performing emotional and educational labor, but a part of that is our passion. Mm-hmm. So they looked up. But for, somebody like you, who that's not your job, you don't have to do that. But that's just a part of being Black in this country, is learning very on sort of the horrors that your people suffered while listening to, white folk who inflicted these horrors be painted as heroes, or at the very least, painted as kind of passive actors in all of this. Like, it kind of just happened.
Yeah, and they just went along with the ride. They weren't the real reason why all the terrible things happen in history.
Right.
They're not talking about, like you said, like us being kings and queens and having a super rich heritage, and
or teaching them to behave. Start teaching them to behave. I mean, I'm not.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
like, we don't, because it's really upsetting. Like, what, you don't talk about the Moors ruling Europe for 600, 700 years. Like, you don't talk about that's really the beginning of the birth of Europe getting universities and libraries and being cultured and getting into the arts and the sciences and mathematics and all that. Like, the Moors ushered that in. Yep. They also ushered out some of the disease that white folk over there were carrying because they weren't bathing. Like, they were like, maybe we can start by, first of all, don't keep your animals like in here, like your cattle in here where you live with.
So that's what it came from with the dogs and the cats.
The dogs and the cats, right? Because, I mean, there's animals that over time already been domesticated, right? Yeah. But they were cattle, like pigs and stuff, right?
You know what I'm saying? So obviously, everybody like animals, so some of them, whatever, but the majority, what we see, the perception is like white people are like, it's super close to their animals, like almost to like relationship. So like, this is hereditary. It's just coming down from hundreds of years.
Aaron threw her dog at that man. Hey, that poor dog, he hit the concrete so hard, she just tossed the dog at that man.
So much today.
I mean, I just, it makes me angry when Black people, we already don't get the credit we deserve here, right, in this country.
For sure.
But there's also a refusal to recognize how rich and operating in abundance we were before we were so abruptly and rudely interrupted.
Okay, so question. How do we get, this is close, it's going to correlate, I promise. How do we get Black people to understand how dope we are? Without, so, because, they always say, well, this is happening, this is happening. Y'all don't even respect yourselves. I'm not giving no examples, but, we can have this conversation, and there has been more of this conversation, maybe in the last couple, years I've heard, but I guess for the majority that I've seen is really like, we're good being here is like kind of like the consensus. Like, I'm cool, I'm just getting mine. I work with a lot of like men, older men, and they're like in these big areas. One guy in construction in particular, I can remember, he said he used to be like an architect in Atlanta, and he finally got to Texas, and he was so excited to be here because it was a bigger city, a bigger state, more opportunities. And so when he got to this office, real big office in Austin, there was like one other Black guy. So he was like, usually like the whole room would be full of like white folks. He's like, I saw a Black guy in Austin, it was crazy, right? And so you weren't like he was just trying to be best friends with him, but it was like, bro, what's up? Like, I see you. We doing this, right? So, and this was so funny because it's like guy like in his 50s and 60 years old. So it's not even like a whatever conversation. Like he still like saw it for what it was.
Mhm.
Kind of how we're talking about it. The dude was all snotty and snippy with him and stuff. And so basically come to find out, like, the guy was like, well, I had to claw and beg, rob, and steal to get to where I'm at. I'm not gonna try to help anybody out. This is just me. He didn't want to be associated with another black man because he was gonna lose his clout with other white men. I mean, come on. And so, but that's on a higher scale. But even on a lower scale, you know, people even talking about the stimulus check. People be talking about like assistance, just whatever. But like people are just kind of stuck in this mindset, slavery mindset. You want to put a word on it, right? Um, how do we get people out of that, in your personal opinion, to like realize like really where they come from and how they can get out the hood or whatever? Because it's more just basketball and rapping, right?
I mean, yeah. But like I tell folks, those are also a part of the stories. I think education is a really powerful tool,
Yeah.
and I'm always surprised by how many of us
Mm.
don't know about our history prior to our enslavement. I think
Mm.
we're starting to learn and we're moving into that space where more of us are becoming aware, but a lot of us are oblivious. So I think a part of the way that it can start is just having these
Yeah.
conversations. Once it gets more stable, when we're back to having like dinner parties, going out for cocktails with friends,
Yeah.
conferences, whatever. Um, but like having those conversations with our friends when they bring up, things like you were mentioning, like the respectability politics with
Mm.
the other black man, or why we feel like somehow associating with a certain type of black person dims our shine, because that in and of itself, when we are invalidating each other's stories, what the hell do we
Yeah.
think they're gonna do?
And so
um,
what I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm trying. So what I see is tattoos, right? I see you. I say like so. I saw so many Cleopatra and like what's the other, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X tattoos, like after like a Ahmaud Arbery or anybody else, Breonna Taylor, whatever, right? Okay, cool. You had a moment, it got to you. You go get a tattoo. All right, you cool. You want to represent, right? And then it's like that's it. And so it's like you do this big act. A tattoo is a big act. I got plenty of them, right? I got it. I'm trying to get over the hump. And so I'm just trying to like, and obviously it's probably the best way I can do it on this platform, because I can have a conversation with every person I see that I think doing something wrong, because y'all know their story, right? But take
right.
it, take whatever we're saying with a grain of salt if you want to, but it's so extreme, and I'm a what's the word? I do the same thing sometimes. Like I'm a kind of like extremist. I'm either super left or super right,
Okay.
and I'm just like I have to realize like there's more work to be done. That like it's bigger than just one moment. It's only like a peg in this long history, of stuff that we really have to deal with. And so I want to just be like a tattoo or a woke moment. People are like, oh man, that's dope. You get 1,000 likes, and that be it. And then you just go back to doing what you was doing because it was just a hashtag. I ain't seen arrested. I know that the verdict came out and everything, but it's like I ain't seen no hashtag. Nothing. It's died down again. And it's
Because
like I don't want I whole like this whole generation to be a hashtag.
I mean, because black culture is a commodity. Black death is a
Yeah.
commodity. Exploitation of blackness, those are commodities. Those are commodities that people can exchange for economic clout, for
Mm-hmm.
social clout. Look at Joe Biden, political clout.
Oh
So
goodness.
it's like people, and that's, I think that's the one thing that they have learned,
Mm.
right? How to sort of exploit some of the very things that make us beautiful and make us shy away from them,
Yeah.
all while they co-opt them and profit off of them.
But they have to understand, like, even hip hop, the biggest like entertainment like giant we have is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And it's like understanding like we legit make and move and create the culture of everything. And so it's like always it's in our face everywhere. You talking about down to white girls even trying to have braids. You know, trying I'm sure you but I'm giving you like an example of that, right? And so it's like, nothing wrong with having a white rapper, but like, okay, I need you to talk about what you've been through. That's why I think Eminem was so famous because he's on the ones because a lot of white rappers in his time didn't make it because they were trying to perpetuate what they saw instead of being themselves. Eminem is creepy, dope dude. I feel like dude creepy, right? He made a whole career on the what's the Haley, his daughter named Haley, but what's the girl name he hated? This little ex-wife, I guess. What's her name? He said in like every song.
Oh, I forgot. But I remember.
You know what I'm talking about, right? So he made a whole career off his trailer park drama
Right,
and killed it,
right.
right? And so, but I say the same thing about Mary J. Blige, like and Keisha, especially Keisha Cole, man, love her to death, but like stop whining, like it's like when Mary J. Blige made that song about fine, it was weird. I'm fine, fine. Like it was weird to see her happy. Why? Why?
I don't know. I can't remember. I know I
It was a groove, but it was still weird, bro. Like when Usher got married and he was happy. Didn't nobody messing with Usher for real? Because we used to Let It Burn and Confessions and Drama.
That's
Think
right.
about it, right? So just even in that space, you can maneuver it because you know somebody for one thing. So it's like when you flip it, they know us for one thing. It's like, hey, you the rapper, you that basketball player, you the guy with the tattoos. That's all you are, right? That's all you're ever gonna be. But we want to be black. We want to be black. But 80% of the time, we're gonna be white and still enjoy our blah 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 blah. And it's like that's the wrong answer always.
Right, right. I mean, it's everybody want to be black. Nobody want to be a nigga. No, and I can't remember. The comedian,
Right.
the comedian who said that, like his name is escaping me at the moment, but it's
Yeah.
true, right? Because America, and I
Her
talked about.
name was Kim. I'm sorry, I just thought about it. That
Oh,
was
yeah,
Kim. Just hit
Kim.
me.
She
Yeah.
got talked about real bad. But in Black America or in America in general, like Black people, really, whether we want to accept it or not, we're still viewed as niggers,
Yeah.
right? Now our culture, that's Black,
Yeah.
but Black culture on a Black body, that's a nigger. You
Mm.
know what I mean? On a Kardashian, that's capital, social and economic. You know what I mean? So everybody want to be Black, but
So that
nobody wants that
so
struggle.
seeing her do her thing with that made you like feel some type of way.
Well, I feel some type of way because, and it's not just her, it's several white women, or, she's Armenian but identifies as white,
Right.
but it's several women who do that while Black women are still sort of condemned and slapped in the face
Yeah.
for it. Even in terms of the whole thing with bodies, the thing with hair,
Mm-hmm.
right? The thing with nails, the thing with getting, a grill, whether it was top or bottom or just a couple.
Oh man, a grill on
Um,
a woman is not.
so many,
Yeah.
so many different things.
Yeah.
Like that's ghetto. That's so ratchet. Ugh. But now that you want to do it, they put it on your
Now
body.
it's okay.
It's profitable. That's okay. And so that's why I tell my students, I show up. Like I was gonna have a grill in when I did my
Mm-hmm.
dissertation defense, but they couldn't get my grill to me
Just
fast
do it
enough.
the whole look. Pop it up. Show them that
Well,
K9. Just
it's purposely showing up in spaces and
yeah.
ways I know you don't want me to. Right. So it's like, I coined two terms for my dissertation, which were compulsory performativity, in which, right, I cater to your respectability politics. I show up in the world in a way
Mm-hmm.
that as the type of the Black woman you want me to be, the type of Black woman that makes you comfortable. I choose to engage in disruptive performativity,
Yeah.
where I show up so Black, extra Black, loud and proud.
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate. So is there a fine line? Because if you do that and you're unapologetically Black in yourself, but you know the environment that you're in, you're risking your job. Is it worth being broke for a moment? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Because if you know your
Right.
boss has these isms, I mean, yeah, you're gonna try to change the culture of the office or whatever. But if if you go to black, whatever word you want to put on it,
Hmm.
then you probably gonna lose your job. You watch not Blackish, what's the other one? Mixedish?
Um, Sometimes, like, I'm
Tika,
not
I
as
think Sumter, I forgot her name, Tika Sumter. I forgot.
yes, Tika Sumter, yes.
Yeah, the one that was on that Tyler Perry show for the longest. I forgot. You know what I'm
Tika
talking about.
Sumter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a particular episode because her husband on the show is white, obviously because it's mixed. It's really about Tracy Ellis Ross, but she worked for her husband's dad, who's like this. He not like he working on it. Like he's like a white guy, like who was obviously racist, but he working on it because he got black grandchildren.
Episodes I saw, he didn't seem to be working on it, but okay, we'll
Well, I
go with
mean,
your
he like
analysis.
when he's around them, like he's like, okay, I get it. I'm working on it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he's having that battle. He's not even the point. So she's the one black lawyer in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and so she had those moments as well. But once she started doing that, one thing about I forgot the writer of Black All the Issues, but one thing they show all sides.
Oh, can you bear us?
Yeah, so she came like super black one day, and then like everybody was like alienated. Then she like felt some type of way, so then she kind of like I guess dialed it down and like had like this little, so she was really going through all the stages of realizing like the environment that she was in. So I get you. I see you like she's shaking the head if you might watch the YouTube video. But in that's what I'm saying. I'm playing devil's advocate here. It's like you have to be so sure in yourself before you go down this rabbit hole. Is my point. Because I mean, we can go back to Jesus, man. Like anybody who stood against the grain, went against the grain, you have to be firm in your belief and who you are. You
Exactly.
got to be happy with every freckle, every cut on your face, every imperfection that you feel like that you have,
Right.
and just push it to the side because it's bigger than that.
Right.
And so what she decided, at the end of it all, like she forced them to kind of like see it, but she still made it kind of palatable. So we're like, they were uncomfortable, but it wasn't like,
Mm-hmm.
And so what I saw recently on one of the riots was that it was a lot of black men with I think AK-47s, like some type of assault rifle. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to feel about that because bro, you black, and I get it. These are your rights. You making a statement. But you got like what's the dude name? I think it was Dylan or something that shot that boy. Walking
Uh,
around. What's
the one Dylan Ruth shot up the church.
I feel like the dude's still name was Dylan. Maybe that's just a popular like shooting up name. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the dude's name was Dylan or something. I don't know. The point being, but like you know the story, right? I got tell it, but it's like I get what you're saying, but like I don't feel like any one of them could have left the group and walked down the street and felt comfortable like we see so many white people doing.
But see, that's the problem, though.
I love the unity, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like, where's the middle ground? And
Why should there be a middle ground?
because you gonna die.
But white people don't wear no. I'm just talking about broadly.
Yeah. Okay.
When Bob shows up to a meeting late, he's not worried about how that reflects on all Tommy and Billy and Jake and
Yeah.
like Bob was just late for a meeting. When Kelly has an emotional breakdown at work and she pops off at her boss. Oh,
Yeah.
she must be on her period. It's just her.
Yeah. But right.
She's not thinking about, oh, how does that make Tammy look and Susie and Sally? Like, why there's this overwhelming concern with how white people think and feel that I just think it is so time
I agree.
move beyond because
I'm just afraid for my people though.
and you rightfully should be, but if
That's the aha moment I'm talking about. They'll get it and then want to be like, you want to know what? I got time. I'm that guy. You preach to the choir. I promise. It's no Tact talk for a reason. I always tell people I got time. I'm that guy to just. I mean, I feel like it's divine. God gave me the energy to just be that in every situation. in doing that, it's like, okay, though, I still gotta be tactful, for lack of better words, in these situations, because it's like I'll end up either dead, in jail, fired, and so it's like I'm still gonna be that, but it's a limit. So like in any situation, I will be heard, but I'm
Mm.
also not just gonna keep going, because we see them videos like them guys doing the same thing with the cops, like this. No, man, I got my rights. The dude was right. The dude's absolutely right. He had, like, I think one dude even had like the law, like he had like the whole thing in his glove compartment. Like, nah, you can't do this. This the law, whatever. That ain't gonna stop that white man from shooting you. Just because you record ain't gonna stop them from shooting you, bro. And so it's like, I'm on the dude's side. You right, man. You should be able to argue with the cops just like these white folks do. But you seen the evidence.
See, it's one of these things where, you know, the police encounters are their own system of terror.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like the rest of these spaces, turning your blackness down as a means to make white people comfortable or to accept you,
That I agree with.
not.
Correct.
No. And if I got to do all that to be in your space, I don't want to be in your space.
Mm.
Like, and I think that's where Black folk also forget how creative and innovative we are. Like, lest we forget, like, we had entire kingdoms and civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we were able to get our papers over here, we went and built an entire Black Wall
Black
Street.
Wash, yeah.
Like, so we can create, we do survive, we thrive, but they're so up here.
Yeah.
To think that if you get too out of pocket, you will lose everything. If you get too out of pocket, nobody's gonna accept you.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking. That's what I'm saying. Who cares what people think? I'm talking about basic necessities. That's what I'm saying. So like, if you're gonna be that way, have a plan at least. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, for sure,
If
for sure.
you finna flip this whole establishment upside down, at least have some savings. That's all I'm saying.
It's not even about flipping the establishment upside down.
Because that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing though. Because as soon as you go against that culture of that office, wherever you go, even if it's McDonald's, it don't matter. You know it's a white oppressed place, and you want to be on the go ahead.
He's white. This entire country's white though. So
yeah,
I mean, it's still like that's still constantly engaging in the mental acrobatics that you were just saying not long ago, make Black people sicker. Yeah. Like all of that constantly, I have to always be on for you. It's different if I'm on for myself. Like that's something that's different.
That's good.
But if I'm always on for you, like for you, I'm thinking about like, and you know, my dissertation that Black women talked about, like if I change my hair up, like sometimes I'd rather just wear a hat or a head wrap to work now that I can, because I don't feel like I don't have the energy to explain my hair. I have to work. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to have to, it's like I have to write the email 10 times and keep going back and forth. Like, am I saying this? Do I sound angry? Whatever. So what if you do it? If it's wrong, it's wrong. Like as long as you, I mean, if you're not cursing anybody out, are you?
Yeah, for sure.
Laying out the facts and the evidence and saying this is an issue, this is problematic. Why in the world are you policing yourself in such a way where your body is carrying stress that over your life course is making you sick because you want white people to be comfortable? So they're comfortable while you get sick?
Yeah, that's real. Again, I 100% agree. I think we talked about that too. I'm so happy. Like I'm in my whole office is minority. You know, it's it's not, we had one, he just left. So it's 2 Mexican dudes and 2 Black people there now. We did have like one Vietnamese dude, he just left. But I pray for that. I did. Because I came from
y'all.
You said what?
He dipped on y'all.
Oh no, he just left. You know, we move every 3 years, whatever, but
like he just dipped on y'all.
Too many Black folks, I'm leaving. No, my last unit, I was in Tennessee, in Fort Campbell, and I was the only Black guy out of 90 some people in my company, the people I saw every day. But even in like the whole organization, I had like 900 people. I was like 6, and so I mean, you talking about daily microaggressions, daily like questions, like we talked about like rap songs be coming out. Hey, I know certain coach like this one. I know he like it. Why I gotta like this song? you know, and I would like scream it to the like I would like because I was starting coach then because that's what I'm saying. I ain't losing my job in that situation because I got some rank. I'm like, so why? And I made a whole spectacle. And he was like, well, I was just saying. I said, no. I said, don't ever assume. I said, I like country music. I hated country music, but I told him I did. I said, I like country music. And so he tried to fact check me, and I walked off like in a huff because I ain't know not one country person. Miley Cyrus, I don't know, you know. But anyway, but I made a big deal um about that situation because just got so tired of it. But when I look back on it in retrospect, I'm like, I was in control,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt like myself getting like mad angry because I was just holding stuff in for so long. And that's another reason why I walked off like, man, I'm finna like go in this dude, you know? And so I just don't want that for people. I don't want them to like, and that's why I think I guess kind of that stigma, angry black man and woman, because we just had enough. And so like it's just like letting it out. I always say go to therapy.
Therapy,
What it's about, it's amazing. I almost wore a shirt today. It was like Jesus coffee therapy and like something else.
therapy is amazing.
So get rid of the own trauma, own, stuff they were going through. Be whole, and let's take over this world. Let's be great how we were meant to be. How black people were supposed to shine. But people skip it. Go straight to being woke or whatever, and
Yeah,
they skip their own trauma.
in your own
And
trauma is
it's
important.
like you can't fight. You know what I'm saying? People talk about MLK all the time. How he was cheating on Coretta.
Yeah,
He had his own demons too.
first
Huh? You said what you say?
in love with a white woman first, and was
Yeah, I'm just saying. And so like we all have our own demons. So before we decide to be great and work within our purpose, we gotta work on ourselves first.
yeah.
A lot of these episodes, I mean, have been therapy sessions. Legit, because I'm working through stuff, I'm talking stuff out, and I feel like people deserve like that no tact, like that unfiltered conversation. And so when I made the podcast initially, I saw so many versions of like no filter podcast or real talk podcast, keep it 100 podcast, right? And so I would listen to them because that's kind of like my thing. Like that's a whole other episode. That's like my thing is I had to learn how to like for one be me because I knew I was like this, you know, I don't know, abrupt like extroverted personality,
Mhm.
and so I had to be okay with that. And so I was listening to them. I was like, y'all don't even know who y'all are. Y'all just talking about Cardi B and Offset getting back together and how you would be in this situation. Like, bro, like you're not even like understanding. So like what I decided to do, because I would have these conversations with my inner circle all the time anyway. I said, I need for people to hear like what real no tag. And people always told me growing up, you ain't got no tag. You don't know, you never know all the time. Like I used to cry when I used to hear that because it's like I can't be wrong all the time. Ain't no way at school, at home, in my relationships, in my friend. Ain't no way I'm just this wrong all the time.
Right.
Yo, I was like, I get it. I'm a little extra, but ain't no way in every facet of my life, So I got to it. So I was like, man, I'm gonna call it no tag talk. And so in that, I'm talking about me going to therapy. I'm talking about my issues with women. Like, I'm talking about my insecurities. I'm talking about, I ain't getting like deep, to my business and nothing, but I did my whole last episode last week was about me and I'll give you an example. Me having women over doing the thing or whatever just to have pillow talk. That's one of my biggest examples. I will legit talk to a girl, do the whole, cause like do the whole thing, y'all get done, whatever, right? Just to have somebody to talk to about my issues. You know how toxic that is. Think about it.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, but it's
They
not.
would like them girls didn't care about what I had going on, but like, I it was a neutral play. I couldn't tell my boys. I would get talked about. I could talk to my family because it was too crazy. I had no one to really talk to about what I was going through. So I would just talk to them because like, oh yeah, they just whatever anyway. They going by the. It's really I'm just talking to a wall honestly because it didn't like they cared or nothing. But and I talk about that, and so the more I start talking about that, dudes be hitting me up, bro. I get it. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. Like the same dudes that be talking all this hot mess on Facebook. I don't know what you talking about, bro. I'm this. I'm that. I'm well, man, bro. Miss me with all that. You know, I'm telling you, like vulnerability in a relationship to a woman is like one of the most sexiest things ever, ever. We ain't saying you gotta cry every 2 seconds. We ain't saying you gotta be all this, whatever, right? But because that's what men think. That's what men think is like
Not crying
showing
every.
any type of emotion is like, demasculating or whatever. So it's like, man, get over yourself. You still a man, you know what I'm saying? But you should be able to have like a best friend. Bro, I love you, man. Hey, I got your back. When you need, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to do, have those type of conversations with each other and then just be open and transparent with yourself. Like even getting a manicure, like that's a lot for me. Like thank God my sister's a nail tech because like she the only person I was like she the only person who can do my nails. I ain't gonna go manicure, but I let my sister do it. Just buff it up or something. I ain't finna get no polish. You know what I'm saying? But even like just kind of like normalizing like, good hygiene is like big for people.
For self-care. Like just
And so
for self-care.
I just think I don't know. I ain't mean to keep you for too long, but I just think it's just
Oh,
everything we talked about is extremely like dope, potent information that I feel like people really need to just get over themselves, right? And to just be your authentic self. Like I used to grow up seeing like I guess you call it, like the emo kids, the weird kids. I used to love them and like I wouldn't say idolize, but like I used to love like how they just will wear anything. Pokemon hat, black sleeve, chain to the ankle, whatever. And they didn't care what nobody thought, man.
be.
So I'm gonna call this the episode emo kid. I don't know. Anyway, I might call it Karen. That's good.
Oh no, no. No, please.
So to give y'all a little insight, the next episode is after this. The guy I did it with, he wanted me to call it Trump 2020. Because he's really big in like COVID research.
Okay.
And all his I had to ask him too before we record. I was like, bro, all your hashtags say MAGA, Trump 2020. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, bro, no, I'm beating the system. He was like, they following these hashtags and they seeing the stuff that I'm putting out is against them. So that he's like had his whole little plan. He was like, man, you should name this episode Trump 2020. I was like, I don't know. I said, I'm gonna get canceled before I even get started, dog. I was like, I don't even. But he had a good point. He was like, people follow that stuff, and he was like, he wanted them to see like and go kind of against the grain, which is essentially what I'm all about. So I don't know what it's gonna be called.
That's what's up. I mean, and I told my students this in my Black Feminist Star class last week, and I told you this, that the thing that I want most for them in life is I want them to never, ever feel that they have to diminish or shrink themselves. I want them to always feel free to be fully who they are and to show up as they are, right? Because they are, they talk about Me Too. Yeah. Because I wear like really tall hats and really wide brims and crazy prints and all these things you can see, like my nails.
Fashionista, dope, right?
Rings on every finger, right? And I'm a college professor. And when people walk into a classroom at a primarily white institution, especially in the Deep South, like the University of Alabama, they don't expect to see their professor standing there like that. And that's what I love to wear. So I'm showing up as me. But I also know in doing that, like I'm giving other students out there, whether they are Black like me, Indigenous, Asian, Latinx, whatever, like I'm giving them permission to also show up as themselves, right? Because it's not about essentially, what you look like it should be about who you are here. And until we start kind of pushing the boundaries with them a little bit, like ever be I don't know. Are you a fan of Lovecraft Country? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. The girl fine. I see the flyers all the time.
Your wife?
She bad. What? She fine. What we talking about? She listened to all my episodes. She cool. No, I told her when I met her, I was like, bro, if the dude got like a 6-pack, it's so dude, hey, he ripped. Good for him.
Because I mean, you know, when I was in a relationship with Michael
It
B.
ain't like gawking over the dude or whatever, you know. But it's like we can recognize as a couple that that person, okay, they got it, whatever, and move on. Now, if you stay there, then that's your problem. You know, it's a
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, I'm just messing with you.
Well, I'm just saying,
Kidding. I'm literally only kidding. But I used to be like, when Michael B. Jordan, I'd be laughing because I would say,
yo, bruh,
see, ooh, my contact. I can't see.
it's too much. Oh,
Can't see. But in an episode, a few episodes ago, like she says that, you know, she's traveling back in
yeah.
time, having a conversation with Josephine Baker, and she tells Josephine Baker, all I'm realizing is I'm exactly the kind of Black woman they wanted me to be. Like,
Ooh.
I've never been free. Like, I've always shrank myself. Right. And her husband is dead at this point. And so she goes back in time. She also talks to her husband and she says, you know, like, already had this white world shrinking me. And then you knew my ambitions. You knew who I was as a person and as a woman. And you allowed me to shrink myself. You encouraged me to shrink myself. Right. And so that's what I think I'm most passionate about for Black people, but especially Black women, right? Because you talked about the hierarchy of the constant on the bottom, no matter where you looked. I want Black women to feel free to show up as big as they want to.
Yeah.
And not have to feel like they owe Bobby or Susie or any of this white supremacist patriarchal foolishness a thing beyond being themselves. Like, everybody can be themselves, I think, and be civil and be kind and be human and fully human. And so I don't know where we kind of get this idea that being really Black, whatever that means, right? Because Blackness is not a monolith.
Yeah.
Somehow is going to disassemble white people in such a way that they won't know what to do with themselves. But even if it does, maybe that's a good thing. Because if we allow them to continue this, like, they're going to keep forever putting us in the box. It's like we come off an assembly line into the box, come off an assembly line into the box. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my students who are Generation Z, but I don't want that for my godchildren.
Yeah.
I don't want that for their children. I don't want that. I want a better world, a better place.
I agree. I definitely agree. I love how we're on the same team, obviously, for sure. It's just I just want people to be whole in doing that. You know, I want people because when you make that decision, I mean, you got to commit, and if you, whatever environment that you're in, when you decide to do, you know, be unapologetic on Monday, and you feel another type of way on Tuesday, it creates inconsistency, and you gotta, hey, stick to it. Don't be trying to go hiking with them at 3 o'clock in the morning doing crazy stuff. And then try to be, another type of way on Tuesdays. I'm like, man, I don't know who this person is. You know, I'm trying to fit in every circle. If you don't like hiking, you don't like hiking. Quit trying to fit in that circle, bro.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, be whoever it is you are.
Yeah.
Like, not
But don't
who
conform.
you need, who you feel like they need for you to be.
Right.
But who do you need to be for you? Like, who do you need to be in a way that other Black men, Black women, Black girls and boys can know that they can show up and be themselves and it's okay, right? Like, people tend to silo people. And again, that goes along with the boxing, right? Because if somebody like Cardi B, she wanted to go hiking tomorrow, right? And get back.
You could do anything when you that famous, though.
I
get it. Okay, yeah.
But there are girls like her in the Bronx, right? Because Cardi B is from the Boogie Down. Yeah. There are plenty of girls like her in the Bronx who they look at Cardi B and they think, because she's really everything. She's an Afro-Latina, but she's really everything that a woman should not be to be successful, right? She's loud. When it comes,
that's just her personality, though.
speaks the King's. She doesn't speak the King's English the best. Um, she kind of is hypersexual. Sometimes for herself,
Well,
sometimes.
her persona, I don't know. I'm be honest with you. I don't know that for sure because that's part of the industry she's in, and she's
But
a
she was
she's
a sex worker, is what I'm saying, right?
yeah, she's a stripper.
So,
Yeah,
utilization of brown and black bodies.
that's true.
So technically, and that's not ladylike. That's not a thing that a lady does. Like, so in many instances, especially at her intersections,
Mm.
she's everything a woman of color should not be if they want to be successful, if they want to have certain,
Yeah, yeah,
if they
that's
want to
true.
make it so far. So somewhere there's a little girl who's looking on, who's talking like that, who says,
Trying to
oh
be
well,
like
hey, maybe
Cardi. Yeah.
I can't be Cardi, but maybe one day I can sit down and have a conversation with the vice president too. Maybe he'll care what I think. Like, you know what I mean? I
But
don't.
she said she was like, I'm not trying to be a role model.
And
That,
she, people
but
look
you are though. I think that's still a responsibility. You got what, a million or whatever, how many followers she got. You know, people watching.
a lot.
Yeah, and so I,
Like,
it's
yeah,
such you know. Oh, Muddy Waters. Boom. That's the podcast title. Just hit me. Let me write that. It's muddy waters out here, dog. It ain't no wrong or right answer. You know, you gotta work through some stuff. Muddy
it's
waters.
tough. It's tough.
I like
But
that. That was good.
if we don't, if we don't, don't push them, they're
Yeah.
not going to budge. And we shouldn't even have to push them because they've taken so much
Mm-hmm.
of what they have deemed like not respectable for us
Mm-hmm.
and made it their own and made it mainstream and made it
Yeah.
okay. So it's like I just struggle. I struggle a lot with that. Because I just don't, I can't, I've gotten to this place and you have me thinking and my wheels turning because I've been
Mm-hmm.
very, very uncompromised. Been so uncompromising.
Yeah.
Um, and in what ways might I be willing to compromise?
I don't
So
don't think of it as compromising. It's just kind of like how we have to give people grace in certain situations, right? And so that's why I always focus on intent. That's exactly why I always focus on intent. And that's how I base all of my interactions. If I feel like it's from malicious intent, you getting all of this. But if I'll try to give you the benefit of the doubt if I feel like there's a part of you that's like wanting to know or not sure about something or this is just how I was raised. Cause I saw a lot of that. I met three white people who never even met a black person before,
been there.
and that was a big in the army because you saw everybody's a melting pot of people, and so the first one did not go well at all. But the second and third person, like I was like, bro, come just chill, because I'm not even the blackest person you gonna meet on this planet. Okay, I was like, I was like, you got it. And I try to show them like the ropes of like, bro, you can't just be saying stuff like that. But it's because he was willing to learn. And then the third person, it was a little kick, it was a little pushback because he was racist. He didn't know he was racist, but he was racist. And he was from like a real small town, and I think like in Kentucky or something. And so I was like, "Hey man," I said, "I don't know where you from." He said he had never like traveled or nothing, joined the military. So I don't know where you from. That ain't cool. And so like we got to a place, and we was drinking and everything, cause you know how you drink, you go through the hype, we going through all the emotions and stuff, and like cause we
Yeah.
was like there. But some made me call it God, I don't know, but like some made me just pull him to the side because I noticed that all the stuff that he was doing was kind of like for the people that was around us. And I decided to kind of be that person in that moment. I'm like, man, let me talk to you for a second. What? I was like, just chill. And this is like, almost a bottle of Jack Daniels in. Like I was there. It could have went either way, but I was like, giving the benefit of the doubt. And so I was like, hey man, I was like, because he did like something real foul. And I was like, hey man, what you did was wrong. And so so when you see body language is important too. I ain't good at a lot of things, but I can run my mouth and I know about the human interaction. That's kind of why I'm here. So I was like, he saw his shoulders drop, and I was like, hey, okay, cool, we can talk now. And so he was like, man, all right, Jay, I didn't even know. Boom, 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 boom. My dad told me this. Boom, 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 boom. My granddad told him this. Boom, boom. And it was just, it opened it up. And then dude ended up crying. It was crazy. It was, but it's just like that. Those moments help me give people something because he was legit like your average Trump voter. He was like that guy like that we see and we like, bro, like, move, right? And so like that's what I'm saying, like it had to be like God like trying to give, be in that moment because it wasn't me at all. And I was drinking. So it was about to be a fight. But the times that I did give people the benefit of the doubt, it's like, okay, all right, I see where you at. And so I'm all for it. I'm all for letting people have 100% no chaser of whatever the situation is, but I don't think we'll ever really grow as a people. And we'll get to the scripture here in a second, but like I've been having like get away from I was trying to have as a heart for people, just in general.
Okay.
And that's the battle I currently still have. Is like because I got even with my eyebrow, I did a whole episode on that. And I was like, I'm just tired of explaining. I'm tired of always having to be angry. I'm tired of being tired. The whole episode was me and my homeboy just kind of going in, letting out our raw emotions after it just happened. And I don't know why all of them hurt, but it was like that particular one. I was just done. Like I was just so done. I think everybody has that moment. It's just like I'm just so tired of it. But I had to pray. I had my day on Facebook where I was on everybody comments. I ain't delete. I was taking up for people I didn't even know. I had this lady hit me up from like Idaho or something. She was a black lady. You could tell like her comments were trying to be all tailored and she was using punctuation. This white guy was like cussing her out. So I went in. I gave him like a whole like paragraph of stuff and he didn't respond and it was a whole thing. So she hit me like a day later like, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me, but thank you for having my back. And I said this was just, I told her this too. I was like, this is just my day. You just happen to be on the list, I got your back, and all in all. But I took a day to be angry. I took a day to go in on social media and just say all the stuff I wanted to say. But I had to have a process. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I had to pray about it. I'm like, hey God, like you got to show me like when I'm getting to go crazy, when I don't, because I know what you give me. Like I said, I got time, right? And I feel like he has been ever since, but it's like you said, like it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle for us, and I just don't want people to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Like everything you said, I 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Like it's very warranted. People definitely need to think like that, even before they even get to me. But I just want people to be whole, like a holistic view. I want people to be whole before they decide to go out there and be great. So, okay, enough of that. Let's air it out, right? Um,
Okay.
last last two segments here of the No Tech Talk podcast. It's a staple here on the podcast. I've kept you for way too long. I know you're probably tired and hungry. I ain't even ate dinner yet.
Me.
We got chicken thighs in there, like soaking up. We got to cook in a minute.
I got a veggie sandwich. I'm
You
pescatarian.
vegetarian? Oh, pescatarian. Okay. Oh. Hmm.
That's funny because I always trip my wife through this out like, oh, you don't eat chicken? Oh, okay.
Right. You are everything. Like you're where you're supposed to be. You are everything. Like your whole life is just
I hear black person who doesn't eat chicken.
it's too much. You just everything. I know.
They're like, I thought everybody ate chicken. No.
You didn't try the Popeyes chicken sandwich? Oh my God.
And people almost said I was almost willing. I was gonna step out.
Listen, I had it before it was popular, and I was telling everybody about it, and nobody was hearing me. And like 2 weeks later, man, I promise you, I had it before everybody did. 2 weeks later, it was a thing, and I'm just like, man, y'all fake, but whatever. All right, last two last two sections. First question is, if you have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to make money? Now, I have to put a caveat to that because everybody want to be all deep and be like, I want to like, cure world hunger, or I want to every time I hug somebody they feel better. No, I want a selfish superpower that makes your life better selfishly. And how would you use it to make money?
I literally was so inspired by that episode with Hippolyta. I would want to time travel. Like,
Okay.
there'd be no limits. Like, I would never.
That's dangerous though. You
I
come
would never.
back.
I would maybe it would be, but
I don't
I would
care.
never, literally never lose. And I
Yeah.
was talking to a friend the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there was something floating around on the internet about, would you rather fast forward to 45 and like be a millionaire,
Or
or would you
start with
rather
yeah, something like that.
to 10 and like have all the knowledge you have now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just told him, I was like, I just feel like I've had some losses
Mm-hmm.
that I just wouldn't want to go through again. But
Yeah.
if I could time travel, I really would never lose, because everything that I lost, I could always kind of go back in time, or the space in which I had it. And I was really
Will
thinking of
life get boring though?
maybe, but that doesn't mean I can't
He's like, I'll
keep
risk it. He's like,
forward,
I'll risk it.
progressing forward,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
I always have the opportunity to go back and hug my great great grandma,
Yeah.
or sit down and have that conversation I would love to have with Zora Neale Hurston about their eyes were watching God, or
Mm-hmm.
sit down and chat it up with James Ball. And then I get to jump back to 2030, right? Where I've had all these amazing experiences and I'm still me and I still got time. And maybe I've taken those L's, but at any point I can go back.
What about your relationships?
I mean,
Like you meet a guy, y'all do the whole thing, he cheat on you or something, and then you try to go back in time. I don't know one. You know what I'm saying? Like
I have
I
to go. I can be very specific, right? I can be very specific.
I feel like a lot of lessons you wouldn't learn. Like you would be very cultured and experienced, but a lot of life lessons you wouldn't really learn the right way.
How so? Because I mean, that's kind of, I think, something else that's been taught to us as Black folks too,
Uh,
that in order to, especially for Black women, in order to experience love, you have to experience trauma,
oh
or
no, no, yeah.
gain a certain level of
Mm,
experience or knowledge. Like, all these trials and tribulations are required.
mm-hmm.
Says who? Like, who taught you? Who taught you that? And who taught you that that was the way? So I think, yeah, maybe there's some hurts I wouldn't know, and maybe that would also be okay,
Hmm.
right? So it's because I would think that, right, because I get the superpower now, right? I
Yeah.
don't, right? So I get it now. So there's no, which I think speaks to, this past week's episode, there's no undoing like what has been done, right?
Yeah.
Even if you go back in time, but when you go back in those spaces, there are things that you can reclaim
Hmm.
about and for yourself that you can bring forward with you. So I would want the ability to time travel, because then, hey,
Okay.
I can even see what stocks are gonna pop off. 95,
Yeah.
2000, like I can know what stocks are gonna pop off, like who's gonna sell what's gonna end up in mergers and acquisitions. Like, I know I have a whole lot of access.
Did you get a chance to listen to the podcast I sent you?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to analyze you now.
Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. Okay.
So it's the reason why I got these superhero tattoos. Like, so my theory, the running strong theory, is that I'll give an example. So if you would have said like invisibility, then you probably have like self-esteem issues. I knew you weren't gonna say that. But it's like it's usually the opposite, and that's a great thing. I love it. Kindred spirits, right? Mine will be like super speed, because like I'm a distance runner, but I'm not that fast at all. Not a sprinter at all. So I always say like I used to I grew up loving the Flash. I was anyway. So with time travel, um, you kind of like a villain. So I mean, you kind of so you you look at control from a different viewpoint, which is still a good thing. So normally people think control like, I got it, I can do whatever I want to do. I can just it's like short term. You're
Okay.
kind of like a villain. You like that mega mind. Your head ain't big, but it's like you
It is.
have like It's
Right.
not. It's your hair. It's whatever. My poodle right now, like we gave him a bath a couple weeks ago. He was this big because his hair was all poofy. You nah. So dealing with time travel, and it's funny because you did not care about the repercussions of time traveling. That's why I called you a villain, because that's dangerous, you know. But
Because
that's good. It's controlled chaos, is what I'm trying to say. Now, in that, a lot of women I've had on here, like, I love it. I love seeing, like, dope women being great. It's like we talked about that as well. In that, y'all, you tend to learn lessons a little bit harder. Now, you could have already went over that hump. I don't know.
okay.
Learn lessons a little bit harder, a little bit hard headed, and then people you ride for, and it's you that hitter in that group friend. I feel like you like the one they call when it's time to go.
When we pulling up?
See, how did I know that? That's all I'm saying.
When we pulling up?
That's all I'm saying. So in that, the people you date too tend to have a harder time. Very, I'm just saying. I could be wrong, but this is based off of my superhero knowledge. This
Harder
is what I
time in
got.
what way?
We're not talking about the guys that see that you're like a dope woman and be like, oh man, I can't handle that. We're talking about the guys that have to like really like commit, like like commit to you like earlier than usual. You know,
No.
I
Mm-mm.
could be wrong. I don't know,
Mm-mm.
but I mean, this you would never know that anyway because it's the guys. The guys have to like realize because guys get it late. Guys, we're like really like women are definitely smarter. But
I
like,
have walls.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I'm saying. To get that and to penetrate, they have to like realize because every guy, I don't care what you say, when you're dating or whatever, they have to realize, all right, I gotta like get my act together. They could be a great guy, have it all together, but it's a switch that we have to have. Like, all right, it's time to all right, know about that. Let me go. I'm either gonna get out, I'm either gonna dive in.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That's fair.
so
That's fair.
but in that, it's usually like it tends to be like more of the opposite personality. But with time travel, it's kind of sticky, muddy waters. Just saying, podcast. That's good though. That's
Yeah.
good.
I
That's
think
girl power.
mine, which is, I think he thought it was kind of weird too, because mine centered around loss,
Well,
right? So I didn't like losing my grandmothers, right?
mm-hmm,
Like losing my grandfather, my great uncle who was really important to me, my
mm-hmm,
great aunt who was really important to me. Like I didn't want to go back in time, or I wanted to go and be 10 because when I was 10, I still had everybody who I'm talking about except for my great great grandmother who had passed away when I was 5.
but you didn't
But
care
we were
about what happened when you got back though.
See, and I didn't really, right? I didn't really consider
Yeah.
because I was just thinking I can go back through all of these moments, like knowing what I know, like knowing when I'm gonna lose them, and I
Mm-hmm.
can now maximize
Yeah.
the time I have and the
That's real.
moments I have with them even more. So he was like, "You're not even really thinking about the money." Like I'm not.
Yeah, I'm
Like
gonna win the lottery every 2 days. It's cool, whatever. I'm just trying to see my grandma, right?
do that too, right? Because you would know the numbers, right? You
Yeah.
would know the numbers as they're coming up. But I just wanted to have the opportunity to go back and be in these spaces in time with these people who I love and miss so
That's good.
much. Yeah, so I think that's very interesting though. Like I never thought about that kind of like as a villainous superpower if you're not necessarily considering the butterfly effect. But
Some
then
people
I don't
think
even
Thanos
know,
was right. Some
huh?
people think Thanos. Did you see like the
Yeah,
mark? Some
yeah,
people think he was right. Just
yeah.
have the clearest air in the world and just kill the whole world, or half the world rather. Who knows?
I mean, and that's why, like I was saying, like well, if I don't, as long as I'm not changing anything in the timeline, like doesn't matter. But I
Yeah,
guess every detail is so minor, right? Like if you wore
yeah.
a pink shirt that day instead of the yellow shirt.
No, we no now because you talk about you. Who knows? I'm so I use maybe that person was supposed to pass at that moment, and because they
Right.
didn't, it set off a whole chain. I'm not talking about like a shirt color. We talking about like a
Right. So that's what I was telling him. I don't
yeah.
change the fact that they had to pass away. right? Because I
Mhm.
believe when they pass, it was their time.
Yeah.
But does it prevent me from wanting to go back into
No. Okay.
moments that I shared with them, right? Like
Yeah.
I think about one particular moment. I won this big award that I thought I wasn't gonna win. I was maybe like 6 years old, and
Mhm.
I was so hyped, and nobody else cared. Nobody else cared except
But
my
you
grand
cared, right?
in that kitchen, and he was sitting in the chair with his back against the wall, like, and he just grabbed my face and he was like, they don't care, but I know my baby, and I'm so proud of you. And he just gave me sugars just
That
all over.
sticks with you. Yes.
So
That's
I'm like,
good.
if I could go back and have that moment, like what I wouldn't give to go back and have that
Mm.
moment. Does that mean he's not gonna pass away on me on, New Year's '95? Of
That's a
course,
villain plot, though. I'm
right?
just
I,
saying.
I know it's
You would
coming.
kill the whole world just to see your granddad again. That's a villain plot.
World.
I'm just saying that's think about it. It's usually like they got hurt, somebody hurt them, they got fired from a job. Like it's good intentions, but what are you willing to do to rectify that or to go back to that moment? That's the thing. That's what makes you the villain. It's not a bad thing. You're not a villain, but you get what I'm saying though. It's like,
Yes,
where's your line? If
mine.
you said you're willing to risk it all to go back to have that moment, what's included in that all?
I'm because see, I guess I'm confused as
I
if
love
if
it. I
if
love it.
I'm changing. Am I changing the fact that he passed
You don't
away?
know what's gonna happen. That's the thing. It could be catastrophic, or it could be like you said, a change of color. But you
But
gotta
I know
risk it.
when at 6 he went on to live for 7 more years. So if I go back to that moment in
You
time,
could have
like
tripped on like a rock, which could have hit somebody else, which could have made them break a leg, and that's the butterfly. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
something small, you could have a small mistake could have been like detrimental, like 76 years later. I'm just saying. I love this conversation. I love it. Um, last segment, and we can talk about this later if you want. I loved it, but I had two different scriptures. I didn't know which one to choose yet, but I think I'm gonna go with one. I'm gonna go with this particular one because I couldn't decide. I was in a wreck. I was in a lot of traffic today. I was like, which one should I pick? We're gonna go with 1 Samuel 16:7, Old Testament. First time in 1 Samuel. Look at you. But I want to focus on half of the verse. If you want to read the other half of the verse, y'all can go look it up. But it is what it is. I'm dissecting the scripture. And it says, and it's from the English Standard Version. If you don't care about which version you're reading the Bible from, you should definitely start. I'm telling you, a translation can change your whole perspective on the scripture. Side note. It says, "For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." Is
and
it not crazy how it just
7 7 that completion 16 7 1 plus 6 is 7
there
7.
you
I'm not
go.
that
I'm
plain
not
number.
good at math. I'm gonna let you have that one. There you go.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what.
So I'll explain kind of what I feel like I feel about it, and then I'll read it again for you, just in case you forget, and then you can kind of explain, and it will be out of here. We went for a decent amount of time. I told you, depending on the conversation.
Okay.
So it says, yeah, for the Lord sees not as man sees, but man looks on the outward appearance, but Lord looks on the heart. So obviously, the Lord made you. I mean, so He know our isms, whether you're supposed to be a villain, if I'm supposed to be a superhero in real life, whatever, right? Um, it ties into, and it usually does with the podcast. It ties to a lot of what we talked about being whole before you decide to be great and be productive. Tell them I said we almost done.
Gracious.
Oh, oh yeah. So we almost done. I promise. I know it's been a minute. So your whole life, people are judging you without even now knowing they're judging you. And you get the first 15, 30 seconds to meet somebody, you judge them by their look, appearance, hair, whatever. That's the culture. That's how we are. That's how people are. But it's in recognizing that God knows your heart, and that's why we always look for our soulmate or somebody who gets us, or our, whatever, because we want somebody that's to see who we really are, when Jay stops pressing record, and then we get off this call, and I go let my hair down, change clothes, whatever. That's who we really want people to know.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times people don't have that. A lot of times people don't have that person. And when all else fails, it just kind of reminded me that God sees that. God sees that inner workings of your heart, your insecurities, and some say I'm sure you have some, but you just overpower, able to control them and move forward. A lot of people can't, and so ultimately, it's just to remind people to that God sees you for you, no matter if everybody, and because that's what we do. We tend to spiral. Nobody gets me. Nobody understands me. Nobody knows what I'm going through.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you 10 other people are, but you just haven't found them yet or found somebody to relate. But God sees you. And that usually helps people understand, like, yeah, like it's not as big. It's big to you, but it's not as big, as you think it is. Because
Yeah.
you snap a finger, God, cancer gone, right? Or
Right.
whatever your situation is, your mountain, but yeah, that's it. I ain't gonna talk too much, but I'm reading again. You tell us what you think. If you don't think nothing about it, is what it is. We keep moving on forward. But it's part of the podcast, so you hear.
Okay.
For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. What you think?
To me, it was confirmation for what I said. Um, right? Because we're so busy judging respectability
Mm,
from the outside, we're not really paying attention to how much we're asking people to shrink themselves and the
yeah.
psychological toll that's taking on people and how that's leading to brokenness and people not feeling like they're good enough and
Mm-hmm.
that they won't ever be able to live up to whoever standards, often standards created by this very white supremacist country we live in. Like, they just don't feel like they'll ever be able to meet those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why it's so important. Like, stop letting them compromise what's on the outside, because at the end of the day, the inside is what matters, not what they say the outside should look like.
You heard it here first from Chénoia. Wait. That's what's up. That was dope. Hey, so let me tell you, I gotta get it on here. I'm gonna get one of those pads one day. Y'all gotta give me a sponsor though. I ain't had one
Understand?
in a minute. No,
I know people are probably like, what kind of sound that she just made? Please.
right. I always tell people. Sometimes I forget, but I'm proud of you. Okay. No, we just met not too long ago, but I'm super proud of you for being dope, for being an awesome, dope queen individual. Again, how you even portray yourself is awesome and inspiration. I feel like to a lot of people. Okay. I don't think that we can ever really hear I'm proud of you enough. We need to hear it more. If you ask me.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm just playing. No.
You're
Uh,
doing.
yeah. So I really enjoyed this conversation. If you ever want to work again in the future, we're here. Usually I say that after the podcast, but I want people to hear. I want people to hear some of the reels.
Okay.
No,
All
but
right.
like I said, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure having you on. This is always a reminder to live life with a little no tact in your life. It's been the No Tact Talk podcast. Peace.